Hi everybody, Jo here again. Thank you for joining me today. So, how have you been keeping? Did you fancy grabbing a brew? Did you fancy having a catch up? I hope you do. What I want to do today is just share. I needed a card for a friend and he's having a bit of a rough time at the minute. And when I was creating it, I thought, well, I've got to be honest, I really enjoyed making it and I thought it's such a lovely design. So I thought I'd share it with you. And I love these words, follow the rainbow. And sometimes we need to do that, don't we? And off the same stamp set, which I will show you in a minute, there's a gorgeous saying and it says, the greater the storm, the brighter the rainbow. And I thought that was a lovely sentiment to put inside. It's quite clean and simple, but I've gone for a lovely bright, a really cheerful. I wanted a heart on here so he knows I care. And I wanted the butterfly bright and cheery. So that's the idea. And I'm hoping that you like it. I'm hoping that you'll join in with me. Or if not, just grab your brew and let's have a catch up. Thank you for letting me come into your craft room with you. I do appreciate it. Now, the card I'm starting off with, this is just stamping card. And this is actually 7 3/4 inches by 3.5 inches. So 7 3/4 by 3.5. And what we're going to do is just stamp our butterfly first. And I'm going to get my stamping mat as always, and I've got my butterfly ready on a block. And the butterfly, I know you like to know, is from set 532, and this is Safari. This is by Bipasha, and it's here, look, beautiful set of stamps. Now I want to put the butterfly across almost in a border, but what I'm going to do is, for me, I don't want to start at one side. A little trick from my clarity days that Barbara taught was if we were stamping a word or a sentiment in letters, she would always start in the middle. And that sort of stuck with me. And because this butterfly has got letters around it, I don't want to overlap the letters. So if I show you and explain as I'm going. So what I'm going to do is where my main butterfly image is, where I'm going to put my tag, I'm going to stamp my butterfly first there. It's almost straight. And so that's beautiful. And what it means now is I can alter the angle, and I've got a straight one there. And for me, it's easier to now work this way and this way. And that's just the way my head works. Now, if you're happy starting at one side and working along, that's fine. So I'm just going to twist this. Oh, and that fits lovely. Oh, just knocked my lamp, sorry. Like I say, you will get a professional one day. Don't know when that'll be, but one day. So I'm thinking that. And you see, I love the way that fits. Now, do I need, yes, just a little up there. So let me work out, say of stamping up, inking up the whole thing. It's that corner, isn't it? So if we just ink up that corner and just, oh, nearly dropped it then. Seems to be all fingers and thumbs today. Do you ever have days like that? Some days my hands, it's as though somebody else is telling them what to do and not me. But you know what, we'll carry on. Because I'm sure we all have days like that, and I'm sure we can all empathise with each other. Right, so this one now, let's have a look. Oh, so that goes nice that way, doesn't it? We'll put that one there. And then we can get another full one in before we need just a half. Now, I could have done this in grey to knock it further back to be in the background, but I do like the boldness of the black. Now, let's see. Oh, I don't want it that way, do I? Maybe. Can't think how I had that. Maybe I went straight. Don't want it down there, do I? Want it up here. So I think a straightish one there. And then an angle there. Yeah. And that's that side. I do talk to myself, by the way, even when I'm not recording, when I'm just in my craft room and crafting. I do talk to myself. I pretend I'm talking to you, really. But you do realise I do pretend you're actually speaking back to me. And I do think on its own, that is just a beautiful background, isn't it? I mean, even if you just painted, if you needed a quick card, you know, you could do this and then just paint one of those, make a spotlight of it, some glossy accents. That would be beautiful. Now we'll just blot that a little. Try to get in good practices, don't we, blotting? And we're going to edge it because obviously we want a black line around it. And while we've got our copy paper, now do remember, I know I always say this, but it's important to have your kitchen roll so you don't get finger marks, and put pressure on that card. Now I have to say again, this is something, as you know, you followers will know I've been doing this for years, and it had gone out of fashion. And I have to say it's lovely to see so many people are sort of reusing it now. I mean, it was never my idea in the first place. Again, I think this was a Barbara Gray trick years ago. But like I say, it really had gone out of fashion. So it's so lovely to see so many other people revisiting it. The main thing is keeping that pressure near the edge. If you don't, your pen can come up onto your work. And as I say, that gives us the most beautiful background. Now, what we're going to add now is some nice stencil work on there. And for that, I'm going to bring in this, and this is Stencil 136. And this one is called Bug Hotel. Must admit, I've got a bug hotel in the garden. Elliot and I went to look at it before, ready for winter, for those nice bees to go in. And I want to use the circle bits of this. And I just want to add some blending in the background. I don't want it to be really strong blending. Now I've gone for Crackling Campfire, but I'm going to use a stencil brush just because I want it light. If I wanted it deeper, I would use a blending tool. And I'm just going to have, you know, I love my diagonals. So we'll start in this corner down here. And again, I'm just flicking up and just gently. Don't want a lot. I don't want to overcook this. I don't want the stenciling to be really proud. So again, remember, just lift your stencil up and have a look. A little bit more. And I don't need to mask the butterflies because I just want it in the background. And I want another piece over here. So I know I want those two corners. Like I say, I have a thing about opposite corners. And I always flick from the bottom up on the stencil. And that way, if you look, if I bring this closer, can you see? If you flick your brush up, you'll see it's deeper at the bottom. And here, look, it almost gives you that 3D shading without actually having to do anything about it. So it's a bonus. Little bit more ink. And then let's have a look. I'm thinking, so we've got it there and there. Maybe a bit here and a bit here, I'm thinking. So I could do with a couple of smaller, got some smaller ones there. And again, I'm flicking up. And then just here, we've got a nice group. Oh, there's a nice group in there. And again, I'm always flicking up. I want those quite light. Now it looks odd numbered without something there. So we'll add a couple more. Again, nice and light flicks. And that's enough. I'm happy with that. Again, it just adds that little bit more interest into the background. And what we'll do, let's just go for a couple. Let's just put a little bit of ink on our mat and take paintbrush. Let's just add a couple of flicks as well. I do like these. Again, they just give another dimension in the background. Don't want to overcook it. That's enough. Let's clean that up. And we'll put that to one side. So that's the basis of our background ready done. But what we will do, while we've got, should have done it while we'd just thinking, let's just stamp on our envelope. I do think the envelopes, we miss them off a lot. So let's just, And again, use your Versafine Clair. And the reason I say that is use your permanent ink, because I'm going to put that there and then it'll look nice on the flap here. If you don't, obviously, if you live somewhere, and I've just got a mark on my stamp, so I just want to, I think I've got a bit of glitter on my stamp. For me, if you use a water base such as your Oxide and the envelope gets wet, your ink's going to run. So for me, I would always recommend stamp. I just want the butterfly on there with a permanent ink. And then if my envelope gets wet, as quite often can happen here, it's actually raining at the minute, and we have got thunderstorms on the cards for this afternoon, so I want to try and get the recording done before we get the thunder and lightning. But there we go. To me, that just anybody opening that, and also for the postman delivering that. So we'll pop that over there. And what we'll do now is we'll go on to our butterfly. So the butterfly actually comes from in the Meadow set. If I bring this in, mine's a well-loved set, look. So this is 449 and this is by Tracy Evans, and it's this butterfly here. And what I've done, I've got one here that I've cut out, but I'll show you how I coloured it. So I've stamped it on watercolour card, and I've also stamped a little Janet Klein heart, and that is off set 524, Follow the Rainbows, and that's the one with these beautiful words on that I was telling you about, this lovely little heart. And what I love, as you know, because I've done them so many times, these lovely little bits of numbers here. And what I do is get a spare piece of card, which again, you've seen me do so many times before, and I just stamp that little bit and cut them out, ready to use. Little ticker tape numbers, I adore those. So I've stamped my butterfly out. Now, there's lots of ways to colour your butterfly. You can use pencils, you can use, it's whatever floats your boat. You can use your ink and watercolour paint. Now again, we do that a lot, don't we? I'm actually going to use some watercolour paints just because, you know me, I love painting. Now again, I'm certainly not a watercolour artist and I've got no training, so anybody who is, please don't think I'm pretending to be something I'm not. I just literally paint what I like and how I enjoy it. But I've got to be honest, for me, I just find it such a lovely thing to do. And I'm just going to first add a little bit in the body there. And what I've done is I've spritzed all my paints just to activate them. And I'm going to start with this lovely, now I want it quite watery. That's better. And I'm just going to add, and again for me, I've got to have the orange. And this is a watercolour card. Am I still in shot? You know me, I'm likely to just wander off. And all I'm going to do, and for me, I find this such a lovely, and I've got to be honest, quite quick technique. But I'm so glad I bought myself this little container of paints. So useful, such a lovely tin, because I found with a tin what I can do is when I've finished, even if they're wet, I just close the lid and then put it to one side, and it's there for when I want to use it again. And I just have it on the shelf behind me, so it's there ready for whenever I want to just paint something. But I found the colours, for me, it's the vibrancy of the colours that I really like. And then what I did was almost use a wet on wet technique, and then I went for a red and just dabbed some red either side here where I want it deeper, and then just almost followed it up the vein of the butterfly. And then I dipped my brush in the water and then just added a bit more water almost to fuzzy this edge. And as I say, it's basically a wet on wet technique, and it just gives that nice fuzzy edge with the deeper colour. And I just because I wanted that almost that butterfly type look. And you can just drag the colour out a little bit more if you want. Now remember the tip with your paintbrush, if you roll it, you make sure you keep that lovely point. Now what I will do now is just come in, I've got a deeper red here. And just here, I just want to have a bit more intensity of colour. So I'm coming in with a, oh, which colour was it? Was it this one? Deeper colour. Must admit, I'm so sad. The other day I was actually looking up the difference between moths and butterflies. Because I was saying to Carl, what is the difference? So I looked it up. And one of the main differences is the way they fold the wings. It was very interesting. Do look it up and have a look. It's all to do with the way they fold the wings. I mean, obviously moths tend not to be as colourful as butterflies. Such a shame, isn't it? Bless them. Right, now this nice bright yellow, we'll just have some of that up here. It's almost like a sort of a greeny yellow. We'll just add a little bit more this side. And then what I'm going to do is just add a little bit of this greeny, and I just dabbed around this edge here, and it almost highlighted. As it dries, you'll see on the drier one, just highlights that colour, and it's as simple as that. And I've got to be honest, she says as she just realises she's missed a couple of bits off there. To me, how quick and easy was that? And I think it's such a beautiful effect. And I've got to be honest, I really enjoy painting this way. Now with the heart, what I did was literally just, again, I've gone in with a red and then clean my brush, and once again went in with a deeper red just at the base here and up the sides, and that helps to give a little bit more perspective, almost makes the heart look more 3D. Then, like I say, just pop my paints away. And that was just a set of watercolour paints, and then I left that to dry before cutting it out. So I'm hoping you enjoyed that. If you haven't got any, do have a go. Honestly, it is so relaxing. If you're looking for something just to do, you know, you could do worse than spend a couple of days just painting butterflies. Right, I'm just going to dry, because when I spritz that water, look, I did spritz rather a long way. Do you know, if I'm not spritzing things, I'm flicking things. Now, on the original card here, I've put a little tag on. Now, again, you'll notice I've been using these whiteboard tags an awful lot. Now, this one's from That's Crafty. And again, they've got a website. And they do lots of different sizes of tags. And I must admit, again, I just love using them. I don't know why. I think I've got a bit of a tag. If you can have a tag fetish, can you? And I just want to add some, just to carry that theme with these circles, I want to add some circles. Now, these are random in size, so let's just find a bit where, and I don't want to overthink, I don't want it too big at the bottom. Right, there we go. Nope. See, she says there we go, and then it moves, and then I decide I don't like it. Now, just going to ink my brush up. And I tend to put my lid on just because then I won't put my hand in it. And the same thing, I'm swiping upwards. And again, I don't want this too strong. I just want it in the background. There we go. How pretty is that? Now again, you could make a few of these, couldn't you? Is it me, or am I the only one who's thinking of Aero chocolate at this moment? Now I'm just going to bring my smoothie in, and this is my orange one, and it's actually got enough ink on. I don't need to ink it up. That's the other thing. Often with your brushes and smoothies, you know, you don't need to add more ink. You'll have enough on there. And what I want to do is I want to add some twine to that. So I've got some here, and this is, it's an ideology one by Tim Holtz. And I want to take some of the orange, but I also want to mix it up with some of the black. So we'll just take a piece of each. Now, when I did this, the hole is wide enough for both, but it doesn't like them both going through at the same time. So what I found was, if I poked one through, now this will be interesting to see if it works, because you know what it's like. Anything live and you know it's not going to work. So let's see if I use my brad awl, if we can get this black to go through. Like I say, with it being live on here, chances are it won't do it. And then you need to do that thing of here's one I prepared earlier. Oh, there we go. Must have felt sorry for me. Right, so if we open those up, I just love the mixture of the colours. In all honesty, I couldn't decide whether to go black or go orange, so I went both. And then I discovered that it was easier to just pull them one at a time. They wouldn't all pull together. There we go. I really stripped that one look of the black. Don't know how I did that. So we'll just cut these. Cut that white one a bit lower, I think. And we'll have that black and white one in the middle. There we go. I can put those to one side. I'm bound to find a use for those little bits, aren't I? Then we can start getting our card together. And if we get all our bits and see how we're going to build it up. So what we'll do is we'll attach this first, and I'm just going to use some double-sided finger lift tape. And again, me being me, I just quickly, I know quite often this is the bit we don't include, and I have had a few emails asking me how I actually mat and layer, but I always do a piece of tape in the middle, because otherwise your card can bow in the middle. And I've got to be honest, I do that thing of turning the corner, the tape back on each, all the way around, which is why I use finger lift tape, because as you can see, it's a bit quicker. And then a tip I was always taught from watching the shows at the NEC, when we used to go in the morning, and sometimes the samples would have fallen off, that with the heat. So it's always good to have belt and braces. So I use a wet glue and I use my tape, so that if one dries out, the other one will be okay. Then we'll just get the card blank, and you've got lots of wiggle time because your tape is there. Look, we can decide, right, get it in the centre. There we go, and can press it down so the tape in the middle will stick, the glue will stick, but we can now go round and lift all these, knowing that we had that wiggle time. And for me, that's still the best for me and the quickest way. But like I say, we all have different ideas, so you just take the ideas and you try a method, and if you try another method and it works better, you go ahead with that. I mean, that's the beauty of a lot of videos and workshops. There are so many people with so many different ideas that can really help and motivate us. So these are my two little numbers, and I like to put those in opposite corners. Again, don't ask me why I have this thing for opposite corners, but I do. So we'll put a little bit of glue on that one, and that one's going to go up there. And I just want that to the edge. And for me, I would always put my card on my card blank before adding my embellishments. just because I like to work with it now and I know I can add anything, and then I can leave it to dry. And I know that's going to go there. Now I just want a little bit more stamping on my tag. So let's have a look, and we've got a stamp here. And this is off. It's one of Janet Klein's, and this is 494 XO0. Crosses or notes, really, isn't it? Beautiful background set, this. Again, I'm mixing and matching my designers today, just because I actually looked for the stamps I wanted to use rather than using a specific designer, which is nice. When you've got an idea in mind, it's lovely how they mix and match. And I'm just going to stamp at the bottom like that. So beautiful. Do check you've got it the right way up though. It's got some lovely little writing on this, but as I say, do check you have it the right way up. Now this, I don't want my, that wouldn't be any good, would it? Because my cross is on top of my cross. So I just want to offset it a bit. So that would actually be there. Now I need a little bit, let's see. This is going to be tricky, isn't it? Let me work this out. So I've got to work this out in my head. So that goes there. I need a cross there. Do you know what? I'm not going to risk stamping that. I'm going to draw that in. So we would have just the edge of the cross on there, and then she's got some dots. There we go. Because if I had tried to stamp, it would have, I needed to mask off, and I haven't time for masking off. So that's going to go there. And on my original, I added some little words, and these have come from this washi tape. Now, I adore this washi tape, and this, oh, I know you like to know numbers. I think I've written inside, this is 24 power words, I think, and this is by Bipasha. And I just love the way I can cut into these. Now, I know some of you love to tear your words. And again, this goes back to what I was saying. You know, we all have different things. And if you love to tear your words, you tear them. I'm a bit of a straight edge type of girl, and I want to cut mine. And I'm just going to choose. We've got the word cheerful there. So I like that. And I just almost, in my head, I wanted something to join the butterflies together. So if I bring my scissors in, and again, I find this the best way for putting it. I can look how I want my, I think I want that there. And that just joins those two butterflies there. What other words have I got here? Appreciate, that's a nice word. Purposeful, I like that as well. Visionary, I like that. Mind you, I'm spoilt for choice on here. Let's go with purposeful. See, if I was clever, I'd have cut some of these out before, wouldn't I? Purposeful. Just want to trim that edge here in a purposeful way. Right, so now I'm thinking that down here, and that will balance that, and just link those two butterflies there. I like that. It just flows better in my head. And again, I'm so sad. Look, I keep all these little bits. That'll be all there ready. So I have cut my butterfly out. Just shaped him a little. So he's going to go on there, isn't he? And then we just need our sentiment, which again, you'll be glad to know I've stamped already. And we're just going to cut that out in each little word, because I just want it separately. And again, I'm just using scissors. So we've got follow, the rainbow. And as I say, quite ironic, if it starts thundering, We might end up with a rainbow here. Right, I'm going to get rid of these because I try and keep my space tidy. You know what they say about a tidy space? Now we've got our little heart. So let's stick that on. I think I'll use a bit of pin flare for the heart, and then it'll just make it stand up a bit more proud. Like a nice proud heart. I'm just going to put that there just to balance. I like that touch of red. Now I'm going to use pin flare for putting my tag down as well. Although it takes a while to dry, obviously it's such a strong glue, this is a 3D glue, and I'm thinking just with the weight with posting, mind you the tag's very light, but I love that. I mean, that would look lovely. It's almost sacrilege to cover it up, isn't it? And then with my butterfly, what I'm going to do is just put a little bit in the middle and quite a nice blob either side, and then it'll just raise it up a little. Now you can, if you want, add some colour onto the base. Because mine's going to be quite flat, I don't need any underneath. I'm happy with that as it is. And then we'll put our words on. Now I haven't edged them, so good spot. So whoever shouted out then, well done you. So with my smoothie, just going to go around and edge them, just because it will stand out better. So it's a good job I've got you to help me, isn't it? So follow is going to go up here. If you look, see how it does make a difference. And again, I'm not adding extra ink onto my smoothie. It's still got plenty of ink on. It's amazing how much ink they do retain. Little bit of glue for the. It's all tiny bits today, isn't it? Follow the. And let's find our rainbow. There. We'll put a. Remember, always pop that up with your end. You don't want your ink to dry out, your glue even to dry out. I'm just going to tidy some space so you can see what we've got so far. Get rid of that glue. It's always nice to have a tidy space. Don't feel you have to rush when you're card making. It's nice to just spend time and look and see. So again, that's lovely, but the words again don't stand out enough. So with my black, and this one doesn't seem to be very black, does it? Let me see, have I got another one? I should have. It's always the way, isn't it? I can't find. I think this one might be a bit. Oh, there we go. That's better. It's not as fine as my fine one, but these they definitely need edging. So, and again, don't overthink this. Just a bit of a scribbly line just makes them stand out that bit more. Must order myself a new fine liner. Note to self. And then for the butterfly's body, there are lots of different things you can use. I've used safety pins in the past, but I just think this arrow, this is a Tim Holtz, just for me, especially what I'm thinking is follow the rainbow, and this is giving you the direction. Now that might be me overthinking it in my head, but that's my idea. Now I'm just going to use some glossy accents to glue that on with. Now, as always with glossy accents, it's actually getting them to work. Let's have a look. See if this one's working any better. Got two different ones on the go. Oh yes, we've got some coming out of this one. I do like glossy accents for metal embellishments. And what I'm going to do with this is put my glossy accents on, pop it down, and then just put a little bit in the middle of that hole, just in the centre there. I just put those back in my tray. I keep those upside down, hopefully, so they're always ready for when I need them. Last few finishing tricks, and I think what we'll do is we'll add some white just to the arrow, bit of highlight. Bit of highlight to his wing here and on this heart. And then we'll come in with some splats. And we'll just add some nice arty splats. See if we can get some on the heart. Oh, there we go. And just a couple over this side, not too many. And that just shows up lovely on the colour. Now, I must admit, I'm really happy with that. I'm really pleased the way it's turned out. Can you see that? So I'm hoping my friend will love that. And you know what? Look, we've got the two. So I've actually got 2 cards I can send. So I hope you have a go at that. I hope you like the combination. Again, sometimes it's just looking at what stamps you've got, what inks you've got, and just seeing how you can use them in a different combination. I do think they go well, these butterflies, though. I must admit, I fancy doing, you could actually go, you don't have to, you could go have your portrait, your card, couldn't you, rather than landscape. That would look nice. Maybe you'll have to have a go at that as well. Anyway, thanks for spending time with me today. Have a lovely weekend. I've got a workshop on Saturday, and we're actually making a gorgeous Christmas tag with more of these whiteboard tags. Look, this one's actually got 3 on. Some beautiful Aall Create stamps. Tim Holtz die. Lots of Christmassiness. So that's my weekend. That's Saturday morning. So that'll be fun. Then maybe a bit of gardening Saturday afternoon. Depends. I don't think the weather's going to be too good. So maybe not. Anyway, whatever you do, I hope you have a lovely weekend. And I'll pop back and catch up with you next week. See how you're doing. You take care. Be nice to each other. Lots of love and hugs from me. Bye for now.